Like my value in small actions is to showcase intent, because intent is not shown in the big actions. Like, oh, I donated like $1 million to something. Like, yeah, that's great, but that's kind of your own vanity. But if you are able to respond to 100 of your friends when they needed you, that is actually more valuable. And deepening relationships just helps everybody grow as a human society.
Hey everyone, welcome to Living Biography, where we explore the stories we often overlook and the ones we never think to ask about. We've been running the series called The Place That Shaped You on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's essentially 15-minute stories of people touching on this point of what's the place that shaped who they are. We hit our 10th episode, and it's also the launch of the early access for the app Teemyo. It's kind of an informal conversation today, exploring this key theme that underlies both Teemyo and Living Biography, which is connection. My name's Ayumi, and I'm the host and editor of Living Biography, and also support the media and marketing for Teemyo.
Hey, I'm Tushar. I'm the founder and CEO of Teemyo, an app to help you remember more.
Hey everyone, my name is Niall. I support the UX design and content of Teemyo.
The way I wanted to start is actually by talking a little bit about Teemyo. So Tushar, how did you get to this idea of Teemyo? And could you share just a bit about what it is?
Yeah, so for me, I think Teemyo Living Biography came about this idea to preserve the stories of my own family and my larger community. I personally wanted to remember who my mom is, and I think the idea of just having the courage to connect deeper with my mom was really important to me. And just through that one conversation, I realized that she had a bunch of interesting experiences growing up that I had zero idea about. I started with this idea to help preserve stories, and more recently I'm thinking along the lines of what is my story, right? And what is the story I'm telling myself? And Teemyo, the app, kind of evolved with that idea that can I collect my own story, and what is the story that's happening in my head, and what is my reality that is changing around me. Since the last couple of weeks since I've launched Teemyo and I've been using it every day, I think a way that it has really helped me is realizing that, hey, like there are some things that you should probably check in with your mom more about, like her health and things that she is struggling with. But at the same time, it's also reminded me that I don't need to forget about my own health. So I think overall the underlying theme behind Teemyo is that we forget our own stories and we forget the stories of other people. And it's kind of this gentle nudge in the direction that each of us, how can we remember our stories and the stories about other people so we can move towards a more empathetic society where we can respect and trust one another and solve the hardest problems facing our world.
Niall, you're in the social media space. I know you're always tracking what's happening on pop culture. You're on Twitter all the time. When it comes to this idea of connection and forgetfulness, what are some things that come to mind for you?
Yeah, I feel in my world where I have to create content and be in the know of everything, there's a pattern for all these different apps that I use. And the main one is what is going to keep me on the app more? And just a constant scrolling and then getting led to microtransactions or being sold something. I feel that the one thing that social media doesn't really value is true human life-to-life connection. It's disguised as a way to connect with other people, but it doesn't really. We know there's statistics about people are lonelier than ever, and we use social media even more. I'm on Instagram every day, and I mean, even just how the algorithm works is not even, it's for people who are posting more. It's not even in a way, I remember Instagram used to be in a way where it was by recency, a relevant, now it's whoever's posting the most gets put front. So all the people that maybe post every once in a while their, birthdays or personal triumphs that they posted, but they only post once a month, I miss those, so I wind up not even really following up with the people that I feel like I should follow up with. I'm falling in the lane of people who do what I do, they're just promoting to get content versus people just posting about their life. As far as forgetfulness, it doesn't help. I mean, I follow so many people, but I don't even know what's really going on in their life. So I have to personally go out of my way. And every blue moon, there'd be something where I'm like, oh my gosh, they got married? Let me go reach out to them and and tell them congratulations. But I would be so out the loop, So, social media is great if you treat it like not a place that they say it should be.
Tushar, you've been in tech as long as I feel you're probably like a teenager, right? And you've also worked building AI for self-driving cars and also for retailers. And what do you feel is the role of tech in connections in our life?
I've been using computers. Like since I had access to my first computer, I don't think I've lived a day without interacting with a computer. I used that technology as early on as I started texting people on these like brick-like phones. That was technology for me. And I was like, oh, cool, I can text a friend on their birthday. That evolved into like Facebook came into the world. Now from texting a friend on their birthday, it became like, oh, do you want to wish them on their birthday and just click a button and wish them on their birthday? I'm like, okay. I feel the role of technology should be enhance in-person interaction, allow you to meet people in person a lot more rather than just be this thing that you're actively all the time engaging with. Like technology is super useful, but at the same time, there is some truth to the fact that people you trust and people in your inner circle actually get phone calls. They don't interact with them on social media.
Maybe just kind of pivoting a little bit, talking a little more about our personal lives. Niall, I wanted to actually ask you, we're both parents, but you actually have 2 kids now. What do you feel is actually the challenge of sustaining relationships while you're a parent, you're also keeping up with creating content, and you live in this modern age that we live in?
I definitely think quality over quantity, but really prioritizing being present, being in the moment physically, when I'm with the kids, when I'm with the family, putting my phone down and engaging with them. Also using that in turn with the people I connect with. Even before, like with kid 1, I was able to connect with more people. I was able to answer all the phone calls. Now, like when people call, I really can't answer and I feel kind of bad. Now I've prioritize the same strategy where when I'm on the phone with this person, every intention I put on the phone, like listening to them and sharing whatever, if they need advice or just someone to talk to or someone to listen to, I really put full intention in that. I feel that really makes up for any lost time that we might have had, versus talking every week. It might be once a month. And I feel that our conversations are much more richer, like because I have a short amount of time. As parents, we're racing time. Time is like our worst enemy. I have to make it purposeful. So when I'm engaging with that person, there's, just a little bit more, okay, I don't know when I'm going to talk to this person again. So let me really just not play on my phone while on the phone. That's been just the battle.
Tushar, I think one thing I respect about you is how quickly your mind works. You're always identifying what's the challenge and how do we solve it. And I know you're also quite busy building this app, but you're also networking, doing so much all at once. So Tushar, for you too, like how do you navigate that busy life?
I think for me, a lot of things come down to prioritizing things very clearly in my head. And I think the way I have set priorities are health is like number 1 for me, like always. Relationships is like number 2. And it's very like obvious if I'm not healthy, I cannot sustain relationships over the longer term. Then I think the third part of it, which is just like other people, right? Other people kind of is work. Anything that I do creatively, it could be starting a company, writing an app, whatever. So I think those are the 3-tiered approach I try to take. The hardest is to find time for yourself. Like it could be health, could be reflection. It's slightly easier. I think people still from the, millennial generation are able to find time to talk to their friends, meet with them. And then what you're putting out there in work, right? In terms of your craft, I think that definitely is also important because that kind of gives you an internal satisfaction. But you want that, I think, internal satisfaction of doing really interesting work to create value in the world. And I'm always like stuck in this productivity trap, and everything has become so like number driven. And as a technical person, I understand why numbers are important. But the question I keep asking myself, what is zeta towards, right? There is a concept of a vector. A vector has a scalar quantity, like how much is the acceleration, but it also has a direction. In which direction are we accelerating, right? In this modern like productivity mindset, we've been over-optimized towards the scalar part of life, which is, okay, how can I make the most money? How can I be the most productive with my time? But we haven't optimized on the direction part of it. Like, where are we going with all this, right? What will you do if you have infinite time and money? And will you still be doing what you're doing today? So I think that question is something that helps me guide a lot of the decisions I make. Like, even though I don't have infinite time and money, the reflection kind of helps me make sure my direction is consistent with what I feel and believe on a daily basis. And I think that ability to directionally stay aligned internally and externally, I think is super valuable, because then you're not deterred by other people and what other people think. Because I think that internal conviction based on reflection and understanding and engaging with the world kind of keeps you in check with the things that can pull you, right? Like, which is greed of money or greed of power or those kind of things. The reflection practice kind of really helps me stay grounded in reality. A few years back, I sold a startup, but I was in the worst of my health. And that should have been a sign to take care of my health. But no, like I did not decide to like spend money on my health. And that's like probably not a good use of my money. So I guess to answer your question, the ability to reflect really, like over the past couple years, has really helped me diagnose what is the disagreement. Why do I not feel right in a certain job, even though it's paying me well? I have a good work-life balance, but I don't feel truly connected to it. But that reflection really helps you get the direction right. And then I feel like you're unstoppable as a person. Once you have your direction, you're fully aligned with the direction internally.
I think if I can add to this idea, I almost want to say making effort to sustain relationships is actually what gives me momentum too in my own life. I say that because I think my natural tendency is actually to just crawl into a hole. You know, I'm an introvert by nature. I'm fine with just spending time at home. That becomes the reality. I start to just focus on my own life. But then at the same time, I recognize that I often become more anxious and more overwhelmed when I do that, right? When I seclude myself. So actually meeting with people, trying to stay connected to people, always for me brings me perspective. It almost breathes life into myself again. It's like selfish in a way, right? Because I feel rejuvenated by that engagement with other people. But it's selfless in a way because it's not like I'm going to meet with people and just being like, hey, let me talk about my life with you, right? But the act of listening and exchanging and this this dialogue, essentially, I have found again and again that it's like I hear the thing that I need to hear, or I realize the thing that I need to realize about myself. Kind of acts as a way of reflecting too, right? I see myself in the other person, but also recognize like have this mindset that I should actually do something about, right? Everything that, we talked about is really a challenge still. It is a challenge to really live a very fulfilling, well-rounded life. So Niall, I'm curious to hear, how has challenging yourself to stay connected with people despite everything that you may be going through, how has that actually helped you grow personally and also as an artist and in your work?
Well, I really liked what you said about, when you're a recluse, in that state, you get overwhelmed and your problems become bigger than maybe what they really are. I have the same kind of thing. I don't know what the in-between is, but I feel like I'm an introvert too. I definitely like to do my own thing, but that's when we all struggle, And so, but when I talk or when I really push myself to go meet with a friend that I haven't seen in a while, I hear what they're going through, it really humbles me. It kind of gives me a whole different perspective on life. Like just even if someone's going through something completely different, it's like, okay, maybe my problem isn't that bad. And it's not like in a way where it's like, man, I would not want to be in his shoes, but it's more like I can get through this, because naturally when a friend is talking about their issues, you encourage them. That's definitely challenging, but you can do this. Like you got, the reason why we're so overwhelmed is because we have this doubt. I know that's been for me, but how that connects with music, just that hope, that I'll win. And there's the different perspectives that I see from other people or, through these stories, it gives me a different outlook on just life in general. And so that naturally impacts how I make music. It's really great when you break out of your own bubble and you grow every time. There's always something, some little insight you get. Sometimes I just it's like little jewels that I take, with me. It's just being able to go through life and really, I don't know, like, man, people are amazing. People are amazing. People are all struggling. People are all fighting. People are all working hard. I feel like people think that people don't work hard or people are not doing their best. But when you connect with people, they really are.
It's funny, right? It shouldn't feel like we are stepping out of our bubble or comfort zone to connect because it's such a natural part of our life, but we somehow do, right? Yeah. Tushar, I'm curious to ask you the same question.
Yeah, I think Niall shared some interesting points about getting humbled when you meet people. You can think about the world in many different ways. I think one way to think about the world and understand the world is media, like read a newspaper or watch the news. Like with technology, it's become easier to understand the world from your couch. But I think real understanding of the world happens out of your house. Like I'm a big believer in technology and Silicon Valley and how it kind of pushes technology forward. But I tell people like you need to come to the Bay Area or Silicon Valley, not to see how the best companies in the world are built, but to see the 99% of companies that don't make it. Because you learn by being here and being surrounded by other people and talking to various kinds of founders. Yeah, it is not easy. Early on, it might feel like, oh, it's easy. I can get some money. I can start building some stuff. It just gets harder from there because at the end of the day, you are trying to create value for other people. They pay you money because you created value for them. To understand that better, how do you know what is valuable to other people? In the product world, there is this thing called user experience research where you go talk to people, you talk to your customers. I was at a round table with other like technical leaders. I asked this question, like, how do you build stuff that people want? How do you figure that out in this AI first world, right? Somebody told me you should go and talk to your users. It didn't like click for me for a while because I was already talking to many people, but I was not intentionally going in a targeted way like, hey, tell me about my product. Like I'm talking to you about my product. And I think that actually helped me a lot because I was truly able to understand people. How do they think about the world? And in my head, I was like, these people are potential users of my product in the near future. And what are the things that are bothering them? What are the things that are causing them to struggle? And being able to understand that without any bias that I am building a product X. So I feel like somewhere it's a question of language. Like in the business world, it's like you need to do networking. If you're in business school, it's like you should have coffee chats with people. All the wisdom just tells to connect with other people. They just use different language for it. But I think fundamentally that ability to go to someone, like everything is talk to someone, but the agenda is not just talk to people. The agenda is talk to people because you can get X out of it for yourself, right? So I think that has to slowly change. I feel human connection is a lot more richer than just that tiny connection that social media makes. And I really enjoy that process of connecting with people, and they kind of have enhanced my own life.
I think maybe one point that I really drew from both of what you shared that I 100% resonate with is connections in it of itself is mutually beneficial. Like Tushar, I love what you said that it's going to just talk to someone without an agenda in itself is valuable rather than this kind of framing of, oh, I'm going to talk to this person so I can sell them something, which kind of has a dead end. But when you just talk and engage, you actually draw and gain more out of it. I think we talked pretty profoundly about the benefits of connections, but in actuality, it's pretty mundane, right? It does look like, oh, I just need to remember that thing, or I need to call that person, or we schedule to meet for coffee, but then we have to reschedule and then we follow up, and that's kind of what it really looks like. So Tushar, although these things are so mundane and they're small actions, why do you think they're worth making the effort to do?
Like yesterday, for example, a friend of mine texted asking some questions about some issue with their application, and they knew I had applied for something similar. What I just did is I just called them like right away because it felt like important to them. Long story short, I told them like, hey, are you free for dinner tomorrow? And they were like, yeah, sure, let's grab dinner. But my car is broken down. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll just drive there. I think even though these actions seem small, like, oh, let's just grab dinner, but I think the ability to have a life where you can be there for other people is really tied in the small actions, right? So I think people talk about managing your energy, not overstretching yourself. I think you feel overstretched when you're not prioritizing yourself, so you can take quick action when it matters. But otherwise, we just get stuck in taking quick action for the sake of productivity, right? You might keep messaging someone, hey, can you get this done? Can you get this done? And it never gets done. And you're like, what's the problem? The problem is that they don't trust you. You don't have a relationship with them. You're just their manager, or you're just their like you are in their social life. So I guess to answer your question, I think the big thing with smaller actions is they compound. And this is something I've learned through my health journey is like, when you are able to take small actions, you really learn to value other people, and you show people that you really respect them and you really value them. And that's visible in how quickly you respond. That's visible in how you respond even. Like even if you don't respond right away. Like I always tend to apologize to someone even if I'm 5 minutes late. But I think the smallest actions show your truest intent, right? If you really care about them, you will apologize. Like even if it's like 5 minutes late. Like my value in small actions is to showcase intent, because intent is not shown in the big actions. Like, oh, I donated like $1 million to something. Like, yeah, that's great, but that's kind of for your own vanity. But if you are able to respond to 100 of your friends when they needed you, that is actually more valuable. And deepening relationships just helps everybody grow as a human society.
I love that point. You know, these small actions are really an expression or reflection of your intent. Niall, I remember you met with someone like up in the valley, right? Which, for context, that's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
And meet with this friend who I remember you were sharing they were going through something, right? But why do you think that effort to actually meet in person is valuable when you could have just phoned in?
The main thing is just being right there, like physical, just like right now, like, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, so like as soon as I came in, it was like, oh, there's a Yumi. Like you get the whole energy, you get the vibe, where people's life is at, and like to really know how your friends are doing, it is best to see them in person. It's almost like a wellness check. A lot of people can fake on the phone, like, or over text. But then when you see them in person, you're like, oh man, how are you doing? Also it's like, man, you was doing great, so, and that's kind of how it was. I mean, I didn't want to drive, but I knew I wanted to see him. And then once I got there, it was all good. It was worth it, just that life to life connection. I'm sure we've all played this, but that meter where like friendship bar increases, it goes tenfold when you're in, when you see that person, in person. I feel all of the golden memories I've had has never been over the phone. It's always in person with people. And it allowed me to just kind of not think about whatever else I got going on. Like, like it allows me to just really just be in the moment and just kick it with that friend, So yeah, it was a long drive, but it was definitely 100% worth it.
Yeah. So how about as we wrap up, we can bring back in Teemyo. So Tushar, anything you want to share about it?
Yeah, I think the vision is like constantly evolving, but the intent is very clear, right? Like, it's to help people connect better. On the app side, we have a test flight beta going on. The next couple of iterations are things that I'm learning from other people as they are using the app and trying to kind of carve out what really helps other people. Because I think one thing I have learned in engineering leadership over the years is you start out by building technology for yourself, right? Which I think as a user, I have been using my own app every day and have over like 3+ hours of like reflections in the app, which I was like, wow, I didn't even know I'm always thinking and reflecting so much. But I think the next step is really how can we work together to help enable the people who really believe in the power of connection, the power of reflection, the power of just setting clear goals for themselves and moving forward, so that we can all kind of use a little bit of help to move forward in our own individual busy lives. The broader vision kind of has always been, how do we understand other people better, but starting with ourselves, right? So I think you can think about the app as of today is how do I understand myself better in relationship to other people? The next sort of steps are how do I understand other people, right? Like I think for me, the true metric is how are people actually connecting with other people, and that is not measurable in like a data-driven way, right? But I think it's kind of the unseen effects that I really want people to experience through the app. Like, oh wow, I remembered to check in on my mom, or I remembered to set up a conversation with this person when I am in their city. The idea of Teemyo is really building that intelligence and that layer that you don't forget and help you connect with as many people as you would like to, and in some ways almost increase our capacity to connect with other people and not kind of have this separation between, okay, this person is a friend, this person fits my professional bucket. Like I think we need to start blurring the lines. So I think that ability to treat everybody we know as a friend first is, I think, what is the whole idea of Teemyo, because there is no transactional value assigned to friendship, right? It's just connection and understanding.
And now a similar question for you too.
What really stood out to me about Tushar's story and his connection with Teemyo is him wanting to have a better relationship with his mom. I think we all kind of want that. There's someone in our family or some friend that we want to deepen our connection with, and we don't know how, maybe. And I feel like Teemyo is like a good place to make that cause, like to start. Just do a self-reflection, you know, hey, I want to connect with my little brother more. I want to connect with my mom more. And so Teemyo being that vehicle to do that, you know, and when you get together with them, you can kind of import those experiences in there, and Teemyo turns it into something that would have just been like a captured memory that you're gonna forget in 10 years. But now it's like something there that lives there. I can see so many people really enjoying this. Yeah, I'm also doing self-reflections on there. And for example, this teacher, she writes weekly newsletters and handwritten. And I have been forgetting to grab the newsletter whenever I sign my daughter in. You know, my wife, she's like, did you bring home the newsletter? I was like, no, I totally forgot. And she's like, Niall, she worked really hard. You need to have more appreciation for her. So I remember putting that voice note. I'm like, okay, pick up the newsletter. I mean, I broke it down on why I forget and this and that, but just like the act of doing that, now I have not forgotten. And I feel like, boom, I'm creating that connection, even though I don't really have a connection with my daughter's teacher, but just like the spirit of respecting her time, you know, appreciating her. I feel like it's making me a better person just by putting that in the app. Anyway, I'm just thinking so many different things I can apply in my life and other people. If I could, I wish I could see all my friends all the time that live in different states, but I can't. But like, I think the intent of connecting with that person is sincere. That's what matters most, and it will transpire to have an even stronger relationship.
Pretty much, maybe all of my life is in relation to someone, right? Like we exist in this web of interconnectedness. Like everything, there is someone behind that thing. Like, right, the person behind that newsletter is your teacher handwriting it. So everything that I am reflecting on in a way is really about someone else, directly or indirect. I think, I think my challenge is like, how do I have more appreciation for everything? For the groceries I get, there's someone behind that. Yeah. Anyway, if I had to add on to this for the wrap up, this is our 10th episode, and it's been so fulfilling and meaningful for me to have the conversation. The editing part is just work and tedious, but just the act of listening to someone's story has been so eye-opening. So please check it out, and we're gonna change the series too as we move forward. With Teemyo, I'm excited about what we can really do. We were just talking before shooting this. Sometimes we do get this opposition, right? But I think having confidence in people are wise, people are good at heart. And there's a lot of division, there's a lot of resentment, violence, and yes, many things going on. But do we just give up and say, well, there's no point because everyone just hates each other now and that's life? Or do we really make an effort to, we don't have to be superheroes, right? But we can connect and build trust with the people around us and continue to deepen that trust. I'm responsible for that. We're all responsible for that effort. And I think Teemyo resonates and is in line with that effort of how do we put technology in in the passenger seat, we're in the driver's seat, and help us really move the world in this direction of there's community again, there's communication again, genuinely. I think that's the returning point when we face these oppositions. Thank you so much for listening. We'll have the links in the description so you can sign up for early access to Teemyo at teemyo.ai. Check out Living Biography on Spotify or Apple Podcast. We'll have episodes every week. Also, if you want to be a part of the podcast, or if you want to learn more about the app, reach out to Tushar at teemyo.ai. We're always looking forward to and open to having conversations. Last bit is subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, with that, thank you so much, everyone.